Alright, let's talk about Canada, shall we? Land of maple syrup, politeness, and apparently some rather ambitious economic plans. While the United States has been, well, let's just say preoccupied lately, Canada's been quietly stepping up its game. Renewable energy? Check. Trade deals that make the US look like it's stuck in trade negotiations with a moody fax machine? Check. Technological innovation? Oh, Canada's got that in spades. So, is America about to get taken down a peg by its friendly northern neighbor? Honestly, it's too early to say for sure. But one thing's certain, if America wants to stay on top, it might want to take a page out of Canada's playbook. Let's start with renewable energy, shall we? Because while the United States has been doing its best impression of a coal-powered time machine, Canada's been investing heavily in green technology. We're talking wind, solar, hydroelectricity, you name it. Canada's probably knee-deep in it, building a sustainable energy future while wearing a charmingly apologetic smile. And it's not just about looking good in the global sustainability yearbook. This shift to renewable energy is attracting investment, creating jobs, and positioning Canada as a leader in a sector that's only going to get bigger. Meanwhile, the United States is busy arguing about whether or not climate change is real. Spoiler alert, it is. And it's already impacting the economy. Canada's kicking our asses in the renewable energy department, and it's not even close. It's like watching your friend who swore they weren't training for the marathon suddenly blow past you with a personal best. All while maintaining perfect hydration and a cheerful disposition. You're left there, wheezing and questioning your life choices, wondering if you accidentally wandered into a Canadian tourism ad. And the worst part is, you can't even be mad at them. Because it's Canada. They're just so darn nice about it. They'll offer you a sip of their electrolyte-infused maple water and tell you that you're doing great, even as they're leaving you in their dust. The point is, Canada's commitment to renewable energy is more than just a feel-good story. It's a smart economic move that's paying off in dividends. Okay, let's talk trade, because this is where things get really interesting. While the United States has been busy slapping tariffs on allies and starting trade wars with, well, everyone, Canada's been quietly building bridges and forging trade agreements left, right, and center. Remember those trade deals with Europe I mentioned earlier? Yeah, those are a big deal. We're talking about access to a market of over 500 million people, with a combined GDP that makes even the US economy look like a lemonade stand. And Canada's got a front row seat. Meanwhile, the United States is stuck in trade purgatory, bogged down by tariffs and uncertainty. It's like watching someone try to navigate a complex trade negotiation with a rusty spoon and a half-eaten bowl of poutine. And it's not just Europe. Canada's been busy securing trade deals with countries all over the world, from Asia to South America. They're like the friendly neighborhood shopkeeper who everyone loves to do business with, while the United States is the grumpy old man yelling at kids to get off his lawn. Trade agreements are the lifeblood of the global economy, and Canada is quickly becoming the go-to partner for countries looking for a reliable and, dare I say, sane trading partner. And the best part? They're doing it all while upholding high labor and environmental standards. So, what's the takeaway here? The United States might want to rethink its whole trade war strategy, because right now it's looking like Canada's winning the trade peace. Now, let's talk tech, because this is where things get really interesting. While Silicon Valley might be the undisputed king of the tech world, for now, Canada's quietly been building its own tech empire up north. We're talking artificial intelligence, biotechnology, clean energy technology, you name it, Canada's got a hand in it. And they're not just playing catch-up, they're actually leading the way in some areas. Take artificial intelligence, for example. Canada is home to some of the world's leading AI researchers and companies. And they're making breakthroughs that are changing the game. And they're not keeping all this innovation to themselves either. Canadian tech companies are expanding globally, exporting their products and services to the world, and they're attracting top talent from around the globe thanks to their welcoming immigration policies and, let's be honest, their universal healthcare doesn't hurt either. The tech sector is the future of the global economy, and Canada is positioning itself to be a major player. So, while the United States is busy arguing about net neutrality, Canada's quietly building the tech companies of tomorrow. Okay, let's talk infrastructure, because let's face it, no country can become a global economic powerhouse without a solid foundation, and Canada knows this. That's why they've been investing heavily in infrastructure projects across the country. We're talking roads, bridges, ports, airports, public transit, you name it, Canada's upgrading it. And they're not just fixing what's broken, they're building for the future. Take their ports, for example. Canada's investing billions of dollars to modernize its ports and expand their capacity. Why? Because they know that in a globalized economy, efficient trade routes are essential, and they're not stopping there. Canada's also investing in high-speed rail, expanding broadband internet access to rural communities, and building sustainable infrastructure that will reduce their carbon footprint. Infrastructure is the backbone of a strong economy, and Canada's investments are paying off. They're creating jobs, attracting investment, and making Canada a more competitive player on the global stage. So, while the US is busy arguing about whether or not to fix its crumbling bridges, Canada's building the infrastructure of the future, because in the 21st century, infrastructure is no longer just about concrete and steel. It's about creating a connected, sustainable, and prosperous future. And Canada gets that. And that's something worth paying attention to. Alright, let's talk about something you might not have known about Canada. They're sitting on a gold mine. And by gold mine, I mean a literal treasure trove of critical minerals. We're talking lithium, cobalt, nickel, graphite, the stuff that makes our modern world go round. These minerals are essential for everything from smartphones and electric vehicles to renewable energy technologies and defense systems. And guess what? Canada has them in abundance. They're one of the world's leading producers of these critical minerals, and they're sitting on vast, untapped reserves. As the world transitions to a cleaner, more sustainable future, the demand for these minerals is only going to increase. And Canada is perfectly positioned to become a global supplier. They're already attracting billions of dollars in investment from companies around the world who are eager to secure their supply of these critical minerals. And they're doing it all while upholding high environmental and social standards. So, while other countries are scrambling to secure their supply of these essential resources, Canada's sitting pretty. Okay, let's talk food. Because when it comes to agriculture, Canada's not just playing the field, they're aiming for the harvest championship. We're talking wheat, canola, lentils, beef, pork, you name it, Canada's growing it. And they're not just feeding themselves, they're feeding the world. Canada is one of the world's largest exporters of agricultural products, and their reputation for quality and safety is second to none. They're investing in agricultural innovation, developing new technologies and practices to increase yields, conserve water, and reduce their environmental impact. As the global population grows and the demand for food increases, the world is going to need countries like Canada to step up and produce more, and Canada is ready. They've got the land, they've got the resources, and they've got the commitment to sustainable agriculture. Finally, let's talk about the most important ingredient in Canada's economic success: its people. Canada has a highly educated and skilled workforce, and they're not afraid to embrace diversity. They understand that in today's globalized economy, attracting and retaining top talent is essential. That's why they've implemented policies to attract skilled workers from around the world, making it easier for them to immigrate and contribute to the Canadian economy. And they're investing in education and training programs to ensure that their workforce has the skills they need to succeed in the 21st century economy. A skilled workforce is the engine of innovation and economic growth. And Canada's got a well-oiled machine. They're attracting the best and brightest from around the world, and they're giving them the tools they need to succeed. And that's a recipe for long-term economic success. So there you have it. Canada's economic game plan, laid out in all its glory. They're investing in renewable energy, striking trade deals, becoming a tech hub, upgrading their infrastructure, sitting on a pile of critical minerals, and they're basically killing it in the agriculture game. Oh, and they have a highly skilled and educated workforce. Is it enough to challenge the US for global economic dominance? Look, I'm not an economist, but I can tell you this. Canada is playing 4D chess, while some other countries are still trying to figure out checkers. Ultimately, whether Canada becomes the next economic superpower or not, one thing is clear: they're doing a lot of things right, and maybe, just maybe, the rest of the world could learn a thing or two from our friends up north.